Hi, my name is Angelica, and this is the Angelica Unfiltered channel where I talk about health, wellness, weight loss, but mostly fat acceptance. I almost forgot my intro there. I feel like I haven't recorded in forever, but it's probably been like a week. So today, I wanted to talk about my best friend in the entire world, Tess Holliday. I posted on my community tab the other day a couple screenshots from an interview she did on live television, and she was looking humongous. I know some of you guys don't like the word humongous, but since you guys hate it so much, I love to say it even more. But there's literally like no other way to describe how she looks, quite frankly. The interview she did was kind of like part of her press tour for her book, and luckily I have it! Yay! Thank you very much. ASMR. You guys probably also hate that. This is her book called Take Up Space, Y'all. Your bold and bright guide to self-love. Tess Holliday, supermodel. Read it here, supermodel and body activist, more like supersized retired model, and Kelly Coon. But before we get into the book, let's watch the interview clip that she posted. My bangs have a colic right now, so don't be judging them. Oh, but before we get into Tess Holliday, if you like my necklace, I'm wearing the grounding smoky quartz necklace with the matching earrings. I'm going to continue the code LOSER until the end of September, so if you want to support my small business Rebirth jewelry, you can get 20% off if you use that code at checkout. My bangs are really pissing me off. Alright, so here we have Tess Holliday's IG. Here's the little reel of the interview that I took a screenshot of. Let me plug in these headphones so we can listen to the very important messaging. So she was on New York Living TV, which I have never heard of, but I also live in Illinois, so I'm not sure if this is a popular station. Let me know if you guys happen to live in New York or know anything about New York. So Tess Holliday was on there, I think 2 days ago, and she was doing a little press run for her book, Take Up Space. And do I even have to say anything? Oh, hold on. Let me scoot this over. And do I even have to say anything like humongous? Humongous. It's just mind-boggling to see her next to normal weight or like healthy weight people. Like, look at her. I'm surprised this couch isn't like teeter-tottering over on her side.
The messaging out there, it's not going anywhere.
No.
And I wonder what
What messaging? Like, I don't know what she's talking about.
can tell our viewers at home about this time in their life, right? I feel like 12 to 21, maybe even 12 to 30.
Yeah.
You're inundated with all these messages about what you should be or should not be, or what you should eat or should not eat. What message?
You will have those messages for your whole existence, so you either have to grow some thicker skin and tell people to fuck off, or just ignore them. Of course, some people give advice, and some people can be well-meaning, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, and they all stink. And I don't want to stink like Tess Holliday's asshole, so that's why I don't take her advice anymore.
For them.
Well, that's part of why I wrote Take Up Space, y'all. I didn't think that in this day and age with social media where the kids are also connected, and as a mom myself, there's really...
The last magazine cover she was on was for Parents magazine, and I think that was around the time of the panini. I can't remember, but it was with both her sons.
to kind of find your own identity and find maybe something that speaks to you and answer some of these questions. We have the internet, but the internet's not always a safe space, and it's not always factual. So why?
The irony. You know what's also not a safe space? Leaving the fat acceptance community, because you'll get bullied and harassed. And also they spread misinformation, like Tess Holliday does in her book. Don't worry, we'll get into it.
And I write a book that had actual information with experts and fun quizzes so that you can find your personal style. You know how to deal with frenemies. You know how important it is to take a break from social media and touch grass, or, you know, like find hobbies.
Tess Holliday actually physically probably cannot touch grass. If she can, then she probably falls over like a turtle.
Interest you, or how do you do your hair and makeup, like little things that maybe you don't have a safe adult or someone telling you. You can discover that on your own, and I think give them
I hope no one is buying their child this book. And I feel like children or teens like don't know who Tess Holliday is unless they're either super morbidly obese or she's gone viral on TikTok and people made fun of her, or people know of her because of their mom liking Tess Holliday.
To take up space and show up as they are and figure out what that looks like for them.
What can people expect with this book, Take Up Space, y'all?
I mean, I am so proud of this book. When I was growing up, I had Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul, and that was my Bible.
Same.
I loved it.
Yes.
And so I was like, I want to do a modern version of that. And so there's a lot.
No original thought.
Fun quizzes. We talk about anything from disordered eating, which is very important and on the rise right now in our youth.
Because people are super morbidly obese and they eat too much.
To how to find your personal style. And it's fun. I think it's funny. And I think they're really going to love it.
I think they're really going to love it too.
Yeah.
You can tell that Tess Holliday is like becoming irrelevant because look at these comments. Heart, heart, heart. Well, HRH collection. Tisk. I feel like this is like the meanest comment. I wonder if they're like going through and deleting shit. You're the best. Yes. So proud of you. Clap, heart, clap. Heart, heart. Clap, heart eye emoji, heart. Like there's barely any comments. They look like they're fucking bot comments. You're my hero. You're my hero. But if you keep scrolling, there's like some comments that they're a little shade. If a person is healthy, good for you. It's a great message. But if you're not healthy, like me, over 50 and obese, then it becomes about your health, your wellness, physical and mentally. And we get a long comment from Chicky here. Tess, you are beautiful. And yes, we are all different shapes and sizes, but as we age, it catches up. See, the thing is like, yeah, we're all like different shapes and sizes. Some people are 4'11", like Honey Bison. Some people are 5'5.5", like me. Some people are 6 foot, and everywhere in between. People are different shapes too. Some people are more pear and have a butt. Some people are more hourglass and have boobs and hips. Some people are more apple and more round. But no one is planet shaped unless they're doing something bad. No one looks like Tess Holliday unless they're eating too much food. Like, Tess Holliday is like not even human shaped anymore. When I saw her right here for the first time, my brain could not figure out like what her body was. I couldn't figure out, was this her belly right here? Was this her knees? Like, what is going on? She almost looked like some sort of like hobbit. I couldn't figure out her anatomy. Like, she has eaten herself to the point where she is deformed looking, quite frankly. And this is the woman that is trying to teach your kids about disordered eating and body image and confidence. Let's continue this comment because it's actually giving Tess pushback. I'm down 275 pounds and it's life-changing. Tess Holliday probably needs to lose around that much weight too, if not more. I loved myself before, that wasn't an issue, and as I was obese my entire life with PCOS and hypothyroidism, but it was turning 50 and everything became difficult that I knew I had to keep going. I had already lost 100 pounds years before and stayed stuck and comfortable in my body. Losing weight is hard as fuck, especially as a middle-aged woman, and metabolic disease is very real, but being still 350 pounds at 50 got too hard. So I assume at one point if she's already lost 100 pounds and she was 350, she was once 450 pounds, which I think Tess Holliday could be that weight. Tess Holliday is 5'3", I believe. I asked my doctor for help, got on Mounjaro to treat my untreated insulin resistance, PCOS, and I lost another 175 pounds. I still exercise and eat right. My body just works now. I understand you don't want to hear this, but I have been there. It's a hard life. You deserve more. It will just get harder as you age. This isn't sent with hate. I am no longer obese, but my brain and who I am will always be an obese person. I hope when you are ready, you know there is help out there for our metabolic dysfunction. This isn't your fault. Yeah, it is. you choose to be that fucking fat. Yes, I just hate the agenda that is low-key being pushed. Yes, take up space, love your body. Love your body enough to preserve its efficiency and independence as long as possible. But it gets to the point where we need to hold hands and talk about the serious issues. We all have different relationships with our fat. Everything isn't about confidence, inclusion, or vanity. I will always love how Tess loves herself. You will always love how Tess pretends to love herself on social media. She does not love herself. Someone that looks like this does not love themselves. Someone like this has severe mental health issues and uses food as a coping mechanism. Same, she is beautiful and unapologetically herself. It's about longevity and quality of life. No one says we all need to be a size 4 or even 10. It's just when it comes too far, it becomes physically limiting and destructive and yes, unhealthy. Tess Holliday literally just tore a ligament in her leg because she was so fucking fat. Her weight is an issue, whether she likes it or not. All right, I'm not going to go through every single comment. She's literally the size of both of them, damn. Just because I'm a bitch, I decided to do a little comparison. Look at Tess Holliday compared to this normal size person. So these women were on the left-hand side. Look at her face, she's so worried. She's like, who the fuck did we just invite on the show? Are we this desperate for views? Anyway, so I split it and flipped it so they're on the same side. Look at these women. These are healthy weight, normal sized women. And this is Tess Holliday. Humongous. Humongous. You cannot tell me a better word than humongous. And then I went ahead and I did this. This isn't going to be a perfect comparison. It doesn't lay over very perfectly. But I have the women in the blue outfit on top and Tess Holliday at the bottom. Look at the size difference. Well, let's go back. Tess Holliday, the normal sized person. It's just so crazy to think that these women have a similar skeleton underneath their body. And this is how Tess Holliday looks. She is probably twice the size of this woman right here. If not, maybe twice and a half, 3 times the size. It's honestly incredible. I cannot imagine how much dedication that takes to be constantly eating to become that size. That's dedication. So let's get to this book. Actually, let's look up the definition of take up space because I feel like I'd never heard of that quote until I was in the fat acceptance community, but I didn't really think anything of it. According to AI Overview, take up space can literally mean to occupy a physical area, but more often it's a metaphor for being assertive and confident, allowing yourself to be seen, heard, and valued by expressing your authentic self, advocating for your needs, and confidently occupying your rightful psychological, emotional, and physical space without diminishing your presence. I've seen people in the past talk about taking up space in terms of different race and ethnicities and being proud of who you are and where you came from. When I hear people talk about it in that sort of sense, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Be proud of who you are and you deserve to exist in every single space regardless of, the color of your skin or, where your ancestors were born. But when it comes to the fat acceptance, I guess take up space, y'all, can be used literally because most people in the fat acceptance community are morbidly obese. And Tess Holliday has to take up a lot of space. So much space that she probably has her own fucking gravitational pull. But in the terms of, if we're using the metaphor, so that means to just allow yourself to be seen and confident and express yourself, which I guess is hard to do as a teen. So we already looked over the front of the book, but if you see up here, a lot of people have been commenting on this too. A powerful and important book. Mandy Moore, singer, songwriter, and actress. And I think it's so funny that down here, Tess Holliday has her little thing. It says, supermodel and body activist. And then Kelly Coon gets nothing. You can't even write fucking author right here or something. Researcher. Nothing. Kelly gets nothing. That's okay. I did read the whole book. Let's see. It is 162 pages. This book was written for teens, so it was a simple read, not too complex, if I do say so myself, but I don't read very often. And I'm also ashamed and embarrassed to say that this is the first book I read this year. And I liked the act of reading it. Obviously, I don't like this book. But, I enjoyed getting off my phone or in my computer to, read this book and do something besides fucking burn my corneas on blue light. Let's talk about the book. We have some praise. I don't know if these are like reviews or something at the beginning. We have one from Mandy Moore. We have one from Alyssa Donovan, actress from Clueless and Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Melanie Zantini, award-winning actress and voiceover artist. And Laura Taylor Namey, New York Times bestseller author of A Cuban Girl's Guide to Tea and Tomorrow. So I don't know how much they were paid to write these little blurbs, or maybe they all have worked for the same press company, or they all have the same managers, because why else would they want to sign off on this book? So here we have Take Up Space, y'all. I'm not going to go through the whole book, but I just thought I would show y'all what it's about. For my younger self, who navigated the twists and turns of childhood with a heart full of wonder and unbreakable spirit, Tess Holliday. For Terry Gatz and Terry Smith, two bright women who saw the light in me. So the book is split up into two. We have the Love Your Outer You and the Love Your Inner You. The first 3 chapters are about clothing, face, makeup, grooming, stuff like that, and then hair, which I didn't take too many notes on those 3 chapters because they were kind of boring. At the beginning of the book, we have a get to know Tess Holliday here, and they do this little thing where it's almost like AIM messages or something, where they go back and forth and they talk every once in a while. But we already know like who Tess Holliday is, so I'm just gonna skip over that because it's just her tooting her own horn. Part 1, Love Your Outer You. And of course, we have a picture of Tess Holliday here because why not? This is a book for self-help. Let's have a picture of Tess Holliday in the book. Makes sense. Find your fit. So, again, this book is written for tweens, so I don't want to be like, this is common sense because I'm almost 30 years old, so a lot of things might be common sense to me, but are not common sense to teenagers. So, at the beginning of the book, it has things about dress code, more stuff about dress code, like what to wear when, unleashing your style, how to find yourself, thrifting, how to pick out outfits, and, learn about the color wheel so you know what colors look good together, finding clothes in your budget, how to go thrifting, and they do have these fun quizzes in them. I did a handful of them, but, I already know myself, so I don't need a quiz that Tess Holliday wrote. But what I found very interesting or skeptical about this book is that it felt like there was like random brand drops or like name drops, which I don't know if it was intentional, like if there was some sort of like mini sponsorship because of the book, or if Tess Holliday worked with these brands in the past, so she thinks like if she gives them a shout out, then maybe they'll want to work with her again. In my personal opinion, this is my opinion, it's not facts, I don't know for sure, I feel like Kelly wrote most of the book, and then every once in a while, there will be these little blips right here, and it'll be like, Tess likes this, or it'll say, message from Tess. These little blurbs are what I think Tess Holliday only did for the book. Like, Tess Holliday's just the name on the book, you know what I mean? So it would get some clout. Chapter 2, About Face. We learn about we have sunscreen, we have, different types of skin, and then what cleansers and moisturizers to use on it. In this, it says, if you want to treat it, hide it, embrace it, then it tells you how, obviously, to treat your acne, hide it, and embrace it. And here this is where we get a lot of name drops. We have, like, different acne treatment gel, Sunday Riley, e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer, Starface Hydro Star Party Pack. Talk about having facial hair. Girls with facial hair, how to groom your facial hair, how to remove it. A blurb of Tess Holliday saying, don't shave off your eyebrows. I did it and it was horrible. And then we have some little, kind of like a little tutorial, or like how to do certain eye makeup looks. And interesting enough, in the face section, we have a strike a pose. Tess's tricks for just the right shot. So you too can also take pictures that make you look 200 pounds less heavy. If you're worried about the shape of your face, act like there's a string tied to the top of your head that pulls you taller. It elongates your neck. You can also stick your tongue to the roof of your mouth, point your chin towards the camera, and tilt your head. A head tilt to the right is Tess's go-to. Try focusing on a different feature. Take up space, and it's not that serious. Quiz. And then we have chapter 3, Do the Do, which is all about hair, which I thought was a little bit educational. I never heard about the hair type system until I feel like a couple of years ago. So I guess it was cool to learn a bit more about that. But then again, there's lists of different cleansers and moisturizers and then product name drops. Do's and don'ts of hair etiquette. Quiz. And now we get to the meat and potatoes. Chapter 4, Feed Me. This is where it starts getting interesting, friends. This is the shit we actually want to hear about. Because I think most of us, we're grown here, so we kind of already know how to do hair and makeup and stuff. Of course, we can pick up tips here and there, but I don't really need the generalized basic-ass advice that I could find on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. I did highlight about 1 trillion different things in these chapters and took lots of notes. Let's just get into it. I'll skim and we'll read some paragraphs. I don't want to pick out too many things because I don't want her or anyone in the fat acceptance community to be like,
you took this out of context. What you're saying is misinformation. You're construing this the wrong way.
Piss off. Food can be complicated, right? Loads of people tell you different things about what you should eat, when you should eat, how you should eat it, why you should eat it, and whom you should eat it with. Meanwhile, some people are simply wondering if they get to eat because food isn't available for them as it should be. Lord have mercy, it makes our head spin. There are lots of different opinions about food from very smart people with degrees in these sorts of things, and also from randos on the internet who might not have no idea what they're talking about whatsoever. But these things are perfectly clear. Feeding yourself doesn't have to feel stressful, and quote-unquote healthy looks different for different people. Being 500 pounds is not healthy for anyone. I hate to break it to you. Unless you're a gorilla, a silverback gorilla, maybe you could be 500 pounds, but we're all human beings here. Unless maybe you're an alien and you're watching YouTube videos to learn about our species, but all the aliens I've seen have been pretty thin. Not that I've seen real aliens, but the aliens that I see on movies and TVs. No extraterrestrial experiences for me, unfortunately. 5 fast facts about food. Number 1, food is not morally good or bad. This book is just a beginner's guide to fat acceptance. Food just chills in its package or a produce bin, wondering why people are making all these judgment calls about it. Let it live. It's just a tortilla chip, and it hasn't done anything wrong. Other than that one time it got caught in Jacob's windpipe, and it already apologized about that. But there is healthy and unhealthy food, in case you guys have one brain cell and don't know that. Food is personal. People avoid certain foods for a whole number of reasons, like they don't want to eat vegetables because they'd rather have fucking McDonald's because they've tainted their taste buds. Yeah, that was my opinion, sorry. I inserted that. Some people have to be mindful of allergies or sensitivities because particular foods affect their bodies in ways we don't want to get into. God forbid we talk about health. Others have simple likes and dislikes. One person's "ooh, delicious" activates another person's gag reflex. Still, others dodge specific foods because of religion or cultural tradition. Their choices have nothing to do with yours or anyone else's. Eat what you like. Eat what you need, because, if I just ate everything that I wanted, I would have Halo Top mix-in ice cream. If you guys haven't had this yet, I have to stop buying it because I would probably literally inject it into my veins if I had the chance. It's very delicious. If I just ate everything I wanted to, I would have ice cream for every meal. But, since I'm trying to lose weight and not be starving to death all the time and having the munchies because I didn't eat enough satisfying meals throughout the day, I force myself to eat things. Of course, I like the things that I eat, like eggs and bagels and breakfast sausage and, sushi and shit. But I still have to force myself to eat other things so I can thrive. But you guys know that. You guys have brains. 3, Food is fuel. The cells inside our body are so needy. They really are, ugh. They're in constant demand of energy, and that energy comes from food, no matter what type of food that is. A juicy medium sirloin fuels your body, and so does a heaping bowl of salad, depending on what is made of your salad, because iceberg lettuce is going to do nothing to you. Sorry. And so does a scoop of casserole the lunch workers ladle onto your tray. Without food, your cells go kaput, along with your energy, your attention span, and your ability to do life, which means everyone needs to eat and deserves to have delicious food in their lives on the daily. If you skip a meal, if you don't have a snack, if you stop eating after 5 p.m., I promise you can still function, because we have fat reserves, baby. Fat is just stored calories. Our body can munch on that. We don't have to be eating every waking second of the day. 4, food is often part of celebration. While food keeps our cells humming, it isn't just eaten for energy. Sometimes it's a frosted birthday cake given to a 1-year-old who's wondering why adults are singing loudly to them and taking pictures. Other time, it's an empanada eaten during a parade to celebrate fiestas patrias in Chile. Or maybe it's red bean porridge consumed during the winter solstice in Korea. Sometimes food is a gift, a memory, or a meal to be shared with people you like to be in the same room with, at least for a little while. I agree with that statement, but I feel like most people that are over consuming think that they need to celebrate every single day. Or what they are celebrating is literally like the bare minimum. They think, oh, I got out of bed today. I deserve to go have my 3,000 calorie Dunkin' latte with my 600 calorie donuts. You don't need to celebrate that. You're doing the bare minimum, sis. Have something healthy if you want to function properly. And also, you can celebrate with food and not overconsume too. You can just have a small piece of birthday cake. You don't have to have a quarter of the cake by yourself. Celebration is usually the act of like having gratitude for something, you have accomplished, or, someone you love has accomplished, or, a holiday. But the food shouldn't be like what you're celebrating, what you're excited about. It should be the people and whatever completed actions, or, you know what I mean? Like the event and what has led up to this moment should be in celebration, not just the food. 5, food can be stressful. For many people, thinking about food ruins their entire day. Perhaps they don't know when they'll get another meal. Or maybe they have to avoid dairy. Or maybe they have a parent who never solved their food issues and now they worry about every last thing that ends up in their plate. We recognize that for some people, food is simple. You get a bucket of popcorn at the movies and you eat it. No big deal. But for others, not so much. And then we get a blurb about disordered eating right here, which, not that I don't think kids should know about mental health disorders. I think education is very important, but the topic of disordered eating is very complicated. And, I grew up on Tumblr during like the heydays of soft grunge. I was never skinny enough to be soft grunge inspo. I never had the thigh gap. I've been overweight my entire fucking life. But, I got lots of tips and tricks from being on Tumblr. And not that I think that Tess is giving or Kelly is giving any tips or tricks about EDs. I just think that I don't want to say this is a tutorial on how to do those things, but it's like kids can know like that there's good and bad ways to eat and like there's good and bad behaviors around food, but do we need to explain it in this sort of depth to children? You know what I mean? Anyway, so disordered eating. I'm just going to read my highlighted bit. I don't want to read this whole entire book to you guys, even though I would love to, so we can discuss every single sentence together. Despite trolls on social media, you can't tell what sort of relationship someone has with food based on their gender, ethnicity, religion, identity, or the size of their body. Then we have another blurb about Tess, because this is an autobiography, not a self-help book. Tess was diagnosed with atypical Anna in 2020, though her eating problems started around the age 10. Look at this whole page. highlighted to the gods. Tess pinpoints one moment she believes where all of this began. After a family tragedy that left her mom disabled, which I highlighted because I feel like I've literally never heard Tess talk about this, Tess was at her aunt's house eating a bowl of Campbell's vegetable beef soup with saltine crackers. Tess put a few crackers into the soup, then a few more, and long after, she ate the entire sleeve of saltines. It filled me up, she says. I felt full. She felt comforted. And in my opinion, that sounds more like a binge. I've never had binge, but I know a lot of people in my life that have. People with binge usually have some sort of emotional problems, and they seek comfort through eating. And I do understand that people can have one ED and then like switch to another and then go to another and another. Like, that makes sense, but this sounds like a binge, and I still think Tess has binge because she's humongous. In 2020, Tess was speaking on a panel with Anna Sweeney, our dietitian consultant for this book. Anna's message to the audience about feeding themselves based on their instincts stuck with Tess. After the conference was over, she reached out to Mrs. Sweeney and asked for some help. Anna thought Tess might have atypical Anna. Tess was shocked. She said, "Have you seen my body?" She asked. "I'm fat." But Anna told me that size has nothing to do with it and referred to a psychologist who confirmed Anna's expert opinion. Fans and other people online 100% did not like hearing that Tess had an ED. No, they just didn't like that Tess was saying that she has atypical Anna. We all know she has an ED. Look at her. After pressing send on an infamous tweet that explained her diagnosis, trolls all over the web claimed she was a liar, which was strange because she didn't remember any of them being at the doctor's office when she was diagnosed. Anyway, she exists in a larger body than some people, and remember, body size is not an indicator of a person's relationship with food. There are some pretty good signs to look out for, though that could give you a heads up that something might be wrong. If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, swims like a duck, it's a duck. I think I said that quote wrong, but then at the end we have this little blurb about what atypical Anna is, and it's basically just like regular Anna, but with atypical, you aren't underweight like a typical Anna diagnosis. And I don't know too much about Anna as well, but from some of the comments that I've read on my previous videos, when I've talked about atypical Anna in the past, a lot of people have said that, you know, when you get an atypical Anna diagnosis, you usually are like a normal, healthy weight. Or if you are overweight, you slowly lose weight because you're partaking in Anna behaviors. If you are truly actually restricting yourself and not eating, then you would eventually lose weight. And, you know, depending on how much weight you have lost and what you started at, you would eventually just get the regular Anna diagnosis. Next page is signs that you or a friend might need to talk to a professional, and then it lists all of the different EDs here. From Tess to you, try repeating one of these phrases to yourself anytime you're not feeling 100% about food. I deserve to feed myself. I trust myself. I take care of my body. And then there's stuff about like how to get access to food pantries, have food insecurities. Look, I took this quiz. This was about what dessert are you? In case you guys want to do it. Take a screenshot. My result was mostly D's, and I got a caramel blondie. We bet you're reliable and approachable and make others feel safe. What do you guys think? Is that accurate? Do you guys feel safe around me? Some people probably don't. Chapter 5. Bodies, bodies, bodies. Bodies are a hot topic, aren't they? People take pics of their booty cheeks or flex biceps and post them on social media, which I thought was weird to talk about booty cheeks because this book was written for teens and they should not be posting pictures of their booty online. Perverts are out there. For them, it's empowering to show off their body parts that they're proud of. For others who scroll past these images, they're a real downer, especially if they're trying to look a certain way and they aren't anywhere close in their own opinion. Fun fact, our bodies aren't who we are. They're more like cars that take our souls, consciousness, and psyches, whatever you call your inner essence, wherever we want to go. Whether that's to the kitchen for a banana pudding popsicle or down the street to meet up with some friends. But if that's true, why is the roundness of our bumpers or the shape of our frames such a hot topic on social media? Because you guys are promoting your car and your horrible habits. One reason is dollar bills, y'all. The wellness industry with sectors like fitness, nutrition, and weight loss generates a whopping $5.6 trillion annually, and it's going to bloat up to $8.5 trillion by 2027. Wellness makes money, so Studley Steve and Jack Jasmine have cash reasons not only to take pictures of their shredded abs, but to also make promises that won't always pan out for the people scrolling. Just like how people in the fat acceptance community lie, too. Content creators across the globe promote quote-unquote health and quote-unquote healthy lifestyles online, which sounds good, but those concepts are vague, mean different things to different people, and are often completely contradictory when it comes to body size. Then right here, it's like, oh, people say to get muscles, but not to be too bulky, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard it before. This next highlighted sentence I have says, find a post of someone working out really hard on the treadmill. There are dozens of trolls telling them that they sweat too much or that they're wearing the wrong gym clothes. And even if you decide to go hard at the gym and forget about anyone who might post videos of your efforts, you might feel like you're not quite doing it right because should you do less cardio and more weights? Or is it more HIIT and less yoga, no yoga and more running? So by the time you make up your mind to even go for a walk, you're terrified that you're doing it all wrong. So why even try? Yeah, why even try with anything in life? Yes, let's continue to make the youth contemplate all of their decisions and give them, what's that one word? Choice paralysis, so they never do anything with their lives. Great. Trust us, we get it. For some content creators, it's not about health. It's all about body image. Yeah, just like Tess Holliday does. Some people on social media take advantage of negative body image. Just like Tess Holliday and other people in the fat acceptance community spout their misinformation online, so people will join their cult. But if you know what you look for, you can weed out messaging that can damage it. Ask yourself these 3 questions before trusting a content creator. Number 1, are they qualified to give advice? Let's apply these questions to Tess Holliday. Any rando in stretch tights can post health quote-unquote content. Look for respected doctors and coaches with certifications, and even then, don't listen to them if you answer yes to questions 2 and 3. So is Tess qualified to give advice? No, because she has no certifications or medical education, and she's also not confident and doesn't love herself, so she can't teach other people how to do those things. 2, do their promises seem too good to be true? If so, they probably are. Quote unquote, I can change your life in 10 days for the total of $39.99 is a sales pitch, not a fact. Just like how I bought this book for $14, and Tess is going to teach me how to be confident. Does their content make you feel ashamed about your body in some way? Block, report, tell the algorithm, they like to use slang, to stop showing you this stuff. A person who truly wants to help you live your very best life gives advice that is backed up by science and never makes you feel ashamed of my body. Well, Tess Holliday made me feel really ashamed about my body and my decisions, because when I posted my video a little over a year ago saying I didn't want to be in the fat acceptance community, Tess and I were actually mutuals on TikTok. I know that probably doesn't mean anything. It just means that we're both fat and post on TikTok. But when I posted my video saying I wanted to lose weight and that I was leaving the fat acceptance community, she made me feel bad about my choices. She left some nasty comments on my video. So no, I won't be trusting Tess as a content creator. Let's talk about health. According to the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And that means different things for different people. According to our pediatrician consultant, Dr. Nika Duvickis, physical health is made up of a lot of things, which very obviously means that we can't tell a person's health by their body shape. I was reading this on live yesterday, And someone commented, they're like, they're literally using the doctor's credentials to make them sound like more credible about, like the bullshit that they're spewing. People driving Ferraris can be healthy, unhealthy, or somewhere in between. People driving Ford F-150s can be healthy, unhealthy, or somewhere in between. A small body is not necessarily healthy. A large body is not necessarily unhealthy. Well, if you tear your ligaments because you're so fucking fat like Tess Holliday, I don't really think that's the pinnacle of health, in my opinion. All right, we're starting to get to the misinformation of things right here. The genetics of size. We love this fat acceptance argument. Let's debunk it. The wellness machine likes to say that your size is always a direct result of your habits. If you're big, you must wallow around on the couch and eat stacks of cheeseburgers at midnight, which we have seen Tess do. I've seen her do mukbangs of McDonald's with her one friend, Alyssa, that's a makeup artist. If you're thin, you must run 16 miles a day and guzzle smoothies made out of poached chicken and wheatgrass. Yes, because that's what healthy people do. Healthy people just eat fucking smoothies made out of boiled chicken and wheatgrass shots. I know that they're trying to speak in hyperbole and be funny for the teens, but it's like you're giving them some sort of idea of what it is to be healthy and unhealthy. So you can only be unhealthy if you sit on the couch and eat cheeseburgers. And you can only be thin if you eat boiled chicken and wheatgrass. It's like, what if you could do both? What if you could have a fucking cheeseburger every once in a while and still be healthy? You don't have to have a binge from McDonald's DoorDash at midnight. What if you fucking make some at the grill at home with some 90-10 beef? No, it's all or nothing. Black and white. Harvard researchers say that's silly. What is so silly? What is so silly? And I don't believe what all research says because researchers can be bought. Just like how the sugar industry paid different researchers to say that fat is bad. So everyone went on low-fat diets and then everything started having a bunch of sugar in it. So it still tastes good. While habits can impact overall health, body size isn't necessarily a reflection of habits you have. Yes, it is. What you look like is a summary of who you are and what you do over an extended period of time. If you compare me right now to myself 2 years ago, you can draw some pretty good conclusions. One guy who runs every day might be bigger and have more fat cells than another guy who never worked out in his entire life. Genetics are a thing. Did you know that genetics are a thing? Do you guys know about DNA strands? I don't think so. You don't know more about DNA and genetics than Tess Holliday does, I'll tell you that. You can't always out-habit DNA that tells fat cells to sit tight because they just might be needed. Some folks in bigger bodies descended from ancestors who needed to store fat to stay alive through famines, and those genes swarm on down through history and landed in their cells. In fact, that's 80% of the reason some people are in bigger bodies. I'm not making this shit up. 80%? Where'd you get that 80% from? Is that from a fucking study or did you just pull that out of your ass? Please tell me that. Obviously I'm white, but I'm like half German and Polish and English and Irish. Am I fat because of the potato famine? Okay, I'll blame the potato famine for why I'm obese. Not because of the monstrosities that I've eaten in the past. The myth is that bigger size equals poor health, bad habits, and a lack of effort. That's not a myth, that's a fact for the most part. That could be true for some people, but not Tess Holliday, because she's unique. But researchers disagree that it's true for all people. Yeah, probably like the 0.1% that has some fucking rare disease that makes someone 300 pounds. And those of us on the sidelines can't tell the difference between the two. Side note, it's also none of your business why someone is thin, thick, or anything in between. Just saying. It actually is my business because Tess Holliday is a body advocate. She's a body activist and is trying to tell everyone that it's fine to be super morbidly obese and lie that she has atypical Anna. That's a public concern. This is a spread of misinformation. That is the public's concern. And, as a country, I'm here in America. I pay lots of taxes and A lot of our taxes go to obesity-related illnesses. That is everyone in this country who pays taxes' business. That is my fucking business. All right, so now we're talking about 10 goals for physical health. We're skipping over paying attention to our body. And now we start to talk about exercise. Exercise. Tess Holliday moves her body for 20 minutes a day. When? When she walks to the door to get her fucking DoorDash? Sounds about right. While someone else might go for 45 minutes. Some people prevent illness by scrubbing their hands often and eating a whole variety of foods, while others need to take medication to stay out of the hospital. Some health decisions are as individual as people are, and none of us should judge another person's health level for any reason, least of all their size. If you're 450 fucking pounds like Tess Holliday, I'm judging you. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're walking on the runway as some sort of humiliation ritual, or if you're on the fucking scooter at Walmart. I'm judging you. I'm looking at you. And if you say you don't judge, you're fucking lying. Because as humans, it is instinct to look and judge at people. We need to know who is bad, who is good. Is this person giving off a strange vibe? Do we want to be friends with this person? Is this person going to hurt me? You know, you got to like feel out the vibes, figure out what's going on. Tess's advice for living in a larger body. Not Tess's advice for being a fat fuck, for living in a larger body. Like Tess has to hop up and zip her into her fat suit every day. Because that's not who she is. That's not what her body is. She's living inside of it. Sounds like hell. If you are in a thicker body, define thick. I mean, I would just call it fat. If you're in a fat, obese body, you're not alone. Not by a long shot, because 77% of Americans are overweight. Don't you forget that, baby. Even if it feels that way, here are some of Tess's advice to make it easier. Use a smoothing stick like Body Glide or Mega Babe Thigh Rescue to prevent chafing between thighs or underarms. If your arms chafe, you're fat as fuck. Tess Holliday and Aubrey Gordon's arms are probably as big as my fucking thighs, if not bigger. I know, like, if your arms chafe because you're running or you're, like, doing something, like an exercise or something, yeah, I understand that. But if they just chafe because they're fucking existing, because you have so much fat and tissue, it's rubbing together, just like my big, fat, jiggly thighs, you have some other concerns that need to be addressed. Keep all the little dips and bumps in your body clean and dry to prevent rashes. If you get a rash, get medical help before it becomes a problem. AKA, clean your fat rolls and take a shower. I know it's sometimes hard to bathe when you're fucking obese. Probably hard to get the wash rag down there in certain crevices when you're so fat. Can barely even wipe your ass, so how are you going to clean it? 3, stretch, even if you can't do any other movement that day, because you're so fat that you're bedbound. 4, big people need proper, stable footwear, because they lug around hundreds of excess pounds. 5, live your life. You're allowed to have fun exactly as who you are right now. That's true, but you can still do some self-improvement. You can still fucking work on losing weight. 6, not to be that girl, but take up space. When you're in a larger body, people can try to make you feel bad about needing a bigger seat or more room in a photo. Don't apologize for existing in the body you live in. Yeah, of course people make you feel bad for like being so fat, but we're just asking you to pay for your extra plane ticket. That's all we're asking. Since Tess Holliday and other people in the fat acceptance movement need 2 plane seats to travel. Now we're talking about movement here. I like to move it. Feeling pressure to move when you don't want to, or when you simply can't because of illness, injury, health, or any other health problems feels pretty dang bad. Dr. Devikas agrees. She stresses that it's important for movement to give you a little zing of enjoyment, or else many of us will absolutely stay in bed watching reruns of Grey's Anatomy instead. I've never watched that show. I don't sit in my bed and binge watch TV all day. I have 2 businesses I run. I have a dog I have to walk. I have a husband and a relationship I have to attend to, dishes to do, laundry to do. Us normal people have to get up. And just because you don't want to do something doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Because I don't feel like walking and exercising most days, but I make myself fucking do it because, like the doctor says, yeah, it makes you feel better. But also, I'm trying to lose weight, and working out helps that go by faster. Now we get to chapter 6, Nixing Standards. And this is about her movement. I don't even know if you guys can see this. I don't know if it's doing anything. Hey Tess, want to talk about the reason you started a movement against the beauty industry? Even though you actively partake in it by getting Botox, filler, lash extensions, and going to brand launches for multiple different makeup companies? Of course, that's literally what I breathe for. This must be really important because Tess can barely breathe. She's out of breath all the time. Yes, so tell me how the whole F Your Beauty Standards hashtag on Instagram came to be, Tess. While I was on Tumblr one day posting stuff, and per usual, people were coming out from underneath their rocks to say mean things about me. They were telling me what I should and should not wear in public, saying I should cover up my arms, telling me not to wear a bathing suit, blah, blah, blah. Kelly, gross. Tess, right? So that day I was just sick of it. I went to bed because I was over it. I felt like, F this. I'm tired of everyone telling me what I can and cannot wear and what I should and shouldn't do. I couldn't post one photo without people trying to make me feel bad for existing, so I went on Instagram. I went to bed because I was so pissed off, but then I decided to go on Instagram. Yeah. Healthy behavior. Kelly, as one does. Tess, haha, yes. I posted something like, if you're tired of everyone dictating how you should look, what you should wear, etc., post a picture of yourself wearing something that makes you feel good or scares you, and use the hashtag #FYourBeautyStandards. I posted a picture, and before I knew it, it took off. People of all sizes started posting videos and photos of themselves. It never stopped. It became an entire movement online, and I started the Instagram handle with the same name to make sure people had a safe space to go. Now it's been shared more than 4 million times on Instagram alone. Kelly, that's a ton. So it's changed how many people presented themselves online. Tess, it did. It empowered people. They felt like they could put on something they wouldn't normally wear because other people were doing it too. It gave them the power to feel good about how they wanted to show up in the world. I mean, it's just silly to tell other people what they're allowed to wear, and this showed. Kelly, that's amazing, Tess. Tess, it really is. I'm shocked. I never expected it to go viral. Kelly, how do you feel about it once it did? Tess, less alone. I needed community and solidarity. Living in a body that's outside of average can be really, really hard. And it made me and millions of other people feel better to know that we aren't the only ones feeling that way, or, I don't know, exacerbated by the current beauty climate. It fueled me to feel less afraid about just existing in the space I live in. F the beauty standards, even though I gave you 3 chapters of different products and advice on how to look like me. Also, why is it hard to live in a body that's outside the average? It's almost like being super morbidly obese is hard on your body. Like your heart, your joints, your lungs. It's hard to walk upstairs. It's dangerous, etc. So talking a little bit about diversity, and then talking about the modeling business. And this is the first graph with a cited source in the whole fucking book. And it's talking about some sort of like beauty standards or groups of people. Look at, see, and then this is like the citing in the graph, which is so weird because it's like, how many other more important fucking things has Tess Holliday talked about in this book that probably did need a footnote with a study? But the first one we get is talking about different groups of people and how many of those people are in the US population versus how many of them are fashion models. Yeah, that's important. Most models aren't an accurate representation of the average human. And newsflash, neither are some of the social media influencers who use excessive filters or Photoshop to put themselves in the exact same advertising boxes. This is a darn shame because it sets up people to believe that in order to be beautiful, you must look a certain way. That idea is false as heck because beauty standards change depending on a lot of things, starting with your actual birth year. It's almost like there are manufactured trends so that we feel bad about ourselves, so that we buy certain products. Because capitalism. Figure out what you like and roll with that. That's what's most important. Of course, it's fun to do trends and shit, but finding like your true authentic self is more important than fitting in. But I don't think I need to tell you guys that. So down here at the bottom, we have just different beauty standards and trends that went on through the different decades. And of course, more on this page as well. So on the next page, it says body types are trendy. Ew. It's not just makeup and hair and clothes that go in and out of style because people can't make up their minds. Nope, you're not going to believe this, but body types can be actually in or out of style because people love to be weird. Yeah, that's the only logical explanation to why there are different body trends, because people are weird. Where's the study or research that I could get this information from? So 60s, petite and delicate, 70s, long and willowy, 80s, tall and athletic, 90s, ultra thin with a round ass, 2000s, thin but toned, 2010s, curvy top, narrow waist with big ass, 2020, trim and muscular. Men's bodies aren't thought of in the quite exact same way as women's, but for men it can be considered ideal through history to be plump to show that you had cash money. Yeah, because up until very recently, most people were starving and very thin before the Industrial Revolution. And if you were fat before then, it showed that you had money. But now, if you're fat, it just shows that you eat too much. In the 1960s and 70s in the United States, however, it became popular to be very thin with or without muscles. It wasn't until the 1980s that big, powerful muscles came into fashion and then went right back to the 90s favor of more average-looking build. Today, gym bros have decided that men need to have 8-packs, though lots of other people prefer dad bods or average builds. But what's the percentage of, like, gym bros that want to have 8-packs? I feel like it's probably very slim because, like I mentioned earlier and in almost every other fucking video, 77% of the United States population is overweight. Message from Tess. I don't believe in rules. We can make our own rules for our own body. Body type trends do a lot of damage and hurt entire generations and communities, so treat your body well and ignore the rest. Yeah. Treat your body well and ignore the fat acceptance community because they're only going to make you fatter and you'll only get more problems with food and exercise. You might actually develop an ED. Why are beauty standards so goofy? Blah, blah, blah. You can't win no matter what. So I wrote, why try it all? Yeah, exactly. You'll never win. You'll never make everyone in the whole world happy. That's why you should just care about yourself and the opinions of your loved ones. Beauty is relative. Friends, and your body doesn't have to be aesthetic anyway. Trying to meet a beauty standard that changes based on where and when you live is like putting on a blindfold, throwing a dart, and assuming you'll hit the bullseye. Good luck to you and everyone else's eyeballs near the target. Trends come and go, but you can still be a healthy weight. Like, you don't have to be a fucking sheep and do everything that everyone else does. You think these are part of the fucking beauty standards? These tattoos? No, but I like them, so that's why I fucking get them. What makes someone truly beautiful? We all know that faces that get smiled at by babies more than others, that there are some people who are just cute, though we might not be able to say why exactly. But we also know people with looks delivered by pixie dust and starlight who we wouldn't want to be alone with for 3 seconds because their insides don't match their outsides. Beautiful people show kindness, help others, believe in themselves, are patient, are happy when other people succeed. Keep trying. Beauty from within will always, always, always impact what others think about you. 1,000% impact what you think about yourself, which is the most important. which is just so ironic because Tess is a supersized model. The modeling industry is just based upon fucking looks. And I know Tess isn't getting any gigs, but she's kind of like more influencer to me personally right now, and being an influencer is highly based upon looks. Have you ever seen an ugly influencer? No. They're all beautiful. Because as humans, we like to look at aesthetically pleasing things. A final word. You get to decide what beauty means for you. Don't let anyone make you believe that your beauty isn't the right kind, because the world needs every type of flower, not just daisies. Okay, Tessa's talking about her tattoos, which why do teens need to know about that? Because they can't even get tattoos until they're 18. And then Tessa's talking about her Miss Piggy tattoo, because everything has to be about fatness. Loving Your Inner You, part 2. And we're just talking about labels and how people describe themselves. All right, we're going to skip over this because it's not as interesting. It's not really like fat related, but I'll just go over my highlighted parts. Part 2, Love Your Inner You, with a picture of Tess Holliday because she loves herself so much. Call Me This, Not That, so it's talking about labels and nicknames, like who you are, your different hobbies, different labels, etc. From Tess to you. Try labeling other things positively too. I'm having a great day. I'm not nervous, I'm excited. These shifts can flip a switch in your brain and make you feel better about whatever is going on. Get delusional. It really helps. Tess talks a lot about delusion online. I guess we can go over this part. It says, Tess's use of the label fat. I feel like if you gave this book to like a random fucking kid, they're gonna be like, what the hell is all this about? Why are you talking about fat so much and body size? That's something like kids don't think about unless they're fat already. Kelly, you've said it in the past that you've embraced the word fat as a label for yourself. Now that's a choice because people use it in a negative way all the time. Tess, yeah, at first I did, just to be honest. I'm actually living in a body that's fat. That's just an observation. And then if someone called me fat in a negative way, like they do on a daily basis, it wasn't a shock. Like, duh, everyone knows it. Wow, you have eyes? Cool. Kelly, makes sense. It's kind of like how some people in the LGBTQIA plus community label themselves as queer. It used to be a slur, and now some people are proud to use it. Yes, because fat people have been discriminated against and are reclaiming a derogatory term. Exactly. So I used fat and was proud to use it, but now I'm not sure how I feel. I've probably internalized some of the hate that goes along with the word, to be honest. Oh, what? You don't want to be called fat anymore? Are you starting to regret some of your decisions? So while it's been empowering because it's shut down about a billion trolls on social media, it also means that I have to work extra hard to combat those negative thoughts about myself. Kelly, our brains are wild, constantly trying to trip us up, and for what? Tess, constantly. Kelly, even as adults, we have to work on this stuff. I battle the negative labeling too. My go-to is, wow, what a failure. I have to use logic to fight that one all the time. It can be tough to get over. I wish sometimes that it started sooner. Why didn't anyone tell this as teens, Tess? Why? Sorry, my dog is playing with a fucking toy now. We would have had longer to practice and we would have been experts at this point. Wait, we are experts. Let's call ourselves that. Our brains will start believing it, right? Yes, because the word expert has no fucking meaning. Tess and 𝒹𝒾𝓈𝓸𝓉 Gordon are experts on fatness and anti-fatness bias, and they are fat body activists and inclusivity ambassadors. Yeah, we should all just start labeling ourselves as something we're not. I'm a billionaire. If you didn't know that, I'm a billionaire. I feel like I'm just reading the whole book at this point, but... So, chapter 8, I'm okay in this space, talking about, making sure that you're safe and where you belong. Chapter 9, bye frenemies. So she's talking about frenemies and bullying. This dog is going to be the fucking death of me. From you to Tess. What someone thinks of me is not my reality. I'm not super morbidly obese because I don't think that. Tess is a skinny legend. Can you just stay up, you piece of crap? Chapter 10, let's get social. She's just talking about different social media apps, the timeline of different social media, because why the fuck does that matter? 3 upsides of social media, 3 downsides of social media. Talking about bullying, protecting your mental health, taking a break on social media. Chapter 11. This deserves its own fucking chapter. Wow, you've lost weight. So she's talking about different comments that people say regarding to bodies. Then she's talking about other topics around bodies like skin color, disability, height, hand or foot size, hair, body size, gender expression, what is appropriate or not to say. 10 responses to redirect conversations you don't want to have regarding to those things. 10 responses that help you stick your ground. Chapter 12, battling mind sludge, which is like mental health shit. Different thought patterns and then how to deal with those. Pseudo mental health help. Conclusion, Q&A, which is just boring, stupid shit. And then we're done with the book. At the end, it shows all the different consultants that were in the book. And what would you know? All of them have some sort of social media following on TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram. But I just thought this was so funny. Here's the bio for the doctor and the therapist. Here's the doctor for the nutritionist. And then here's the fucking bio for the hairstylist. Is he the most important one? Because his bio is like the fucking longest. Then there's other book recommendations, depending on age, and different resources. A little BetterHelp shout out, which they've had a lot of controversy in the past, but I also know that they've sponsored about 1 trillion different people on social media. Different acknowledgements at the end, and then about the authors, we have Tess Holliday. I guess we can read the bio so we can laugh at it, even though this fucking video is already long. As one of the world's most famous plus-size models, who determined that? Because I can name a handful of plus-size models that are more popular and still working. Tess Holliday has been a pioneer in the body positivity movement. She broke boundaries with her Cosmo UK cover that went on to win Cover of the Year. She was named one of the most influential people by Time magazine and one of the top 6 plus-size models globally by Vogue Italia. What does this have to do with being a fucking author? Tess has graced many magazine covers, including Nylon, People, Parents, and Self. I think those are all 4 of them. Tess is the author of The Not So Subtle Art of Being a Fat Girl, an inclusivity consultant for global brands like H&M and Pinterest, and the founder of the viral F Your Beauty Standards movement, which encourages people to love themselves at every size. She was a keynote speaker at the inaugural World Eating Disorder, censoring ourselves here, Action Day at the UN, and has been awarded the Global Changemaker Award by the National Alliance of ED and the Aspire Award by Project Heal. Tess's goal is to make sure that there's a seat at the table for everyone and to give others the chance to make their dreams come true. She lives near LA with her sons and a couple of rowdy cats. Yeah, so she has a bunch of different fake awards that mean nothing, that no one cares about. And then we have Kelly, who actually wrote the whole fucking book. So what do I actually think about this book? I guess I'll start out with the good things. I do like how inclusive the book was when there was different, when there was all these different made-up scenarios or different blurbs. They made sure to include a bunch of different types of people. It wasn't just examples of white young girl teens. Like when we read in the paragraph talking about how people eat different foods for different celebrations. It talked about what people ate in Chile or Korea, which I thought was cool because not only is it just educating people on different types of food and celebrations and stuff. I mean, there was a handful of different examples like that in the book, but It also helps people feel represented. And I mean, I guess this book can be bought and sold anywhere, but America is such like a mixing pot of different races and ethnicities. So I think it's a good thing to write books that can relate to all different types of teens. Or like when they talked about different hair types, it didn't just talk about wavy or straight hair. It talked about all different types of curly hair, so it's more inclusive. But I think that's more on Kelly's part than Tess's, because I feel like Tess made a point to tell you like when she was talking, like these little blurbs that say from Tess to you. And the book is written in third person, and when they talk about Tess, it's not in first person, so it kind of shows like that she didn't write it, because most people don't write books about themselves in third person. And I said this at the beginning of the video, I feel like it kind of is common sense, like some of the stuff, but the book is for teens, so I guess maybe they do need help with some of these things, or it's good to have like a physical book where you could look back and find references to like the different cleansers or moisturizers or beauty products, or how to do what, or like what hair stuff would be good for you depending on your hair texture. But also at the same time, like if you have a parental figure or like a mom or older sister or something, like I feel like you probably already know a lot of those things, or kids are so chronically online now that I feel like most of them probably might already have that information. So in a sense, like, I guess I liked that part of the book, but of course I have way more issues with it that totally outweighs the small positives. So the woman that she wrote the book with, Kelly, or I should say Kelly, that wrote most of the book, and Tess added her little blurbs in. It seemed very fat acceptance coded, with the fucking stupid genetics and the bitching about wellness culture, but never talking about the hyper-processed food culture, the overeating culture in America, and then of course like the owning of the word fat, like they're reclaiming a slur. Like that all seems very fat acceptance code, and especially with like the talk about EDs. People in the fat acceptance community, they have a hard time grasping reality, and they can never acknowledge how much they eat or what they actually do eat, or, their weight, and how their weight complicates their everyday living. And I feel like that was also kind of emphasized in this book, especially because people in the fat acceptance community, and then obviously Tess in this book too, always think that they have some sort of restrictive ED, when if you're not eating food, then you wouldn't be 450 pounds, And that's just not my personal opinion. That's just science and math. I don't know. I feel like my brain has went mush. I didn't have any caffeine today. I forgot. Shit. I guess overall, I think the book is pretty useless. I would not recommend this to any teenager or to you guys, if for some reason you wanted to read this book. I guess maybe if you want to read it, rent it from a library so you don't have to give Tess Holliday $13.99. I know in that interview she said she wanted to make books that were similar to, what, Chicken Noodle Soup or something? I don't know, I never read those fucking books. That is not the title of the fucking books, Chicken Noodle Soup. Campbell's Soup for the Soul? I don't know. So I can't compare this book to that one, and if it's giving similar advice, I'm sure those books in the past were not talking about fatness and how people can't determine your health by your size, because back then we weren't living in a mass state of delusion. When I was reading this book, I was sighing and rolling my eyes, but there's nothing new here. This is the same fat acceptance stupid bullshit that everyone says on TikTok and Instagram. And I think that writing this book and then continuing to get awards and speaking at the UN and all this other dumb bullshit, I feel like really puts credibility under Tess's belt, so then she can continue to have a career or like stay relevant, because at the end of the day, she has no credibility. She has no education on these topics. She's not a doctor. She's not a medical professional. She is not a dietitian. From what I know about her, I don't think she went to school and studied diversity and inclusivity. At this point, it just feels like Tess is like famous for being famous. I mean, I guess she can pretend to be an expert in certain things, but at the end of the day, I would not listen to any advice that she has to give. Because I only listen to advice, or I only listen to people that I want to be like. I listen to Honey Bison for weight loss advice and not Aubrey Gordon, because I would like to live more similar to Honey Bison than Aubrey Gordon. But I think there probably are some dumbass moms out there that have bought this for their tween so they can read, or they can read it together. But it's not groundbreaking. Not saying that I could write something better. Not saying that Kelly is a bad author. It's just Fat Acceptance 101. Fat Acceptance for Dummies. It's a tutorial on how to become delusional and continue your unhealthy relationship with food and exercise. And there's some, I guess, good advice sprinkled in there. The quizzes were fun too. That reminded me of my childhood reading Tiger Beat magazines. But besides that, it's a book that Tess Holliday pretended to write. So that's my answer on that. A big eye roll. I bought this on Amazon, so maybe I should leave a 1-star review. Let me know your opinions down in the comment section. I would love to chat with y'all and hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like this video. And if you enjoy me, consider subscribing. I would love to see you back again. If you made it this far, leave a burger emoji. And if you like smoky quartz or other crystals, make sure to check out my business, Rebirth Jewelry, and use code LOSER to save 20% off until the end of September. I hope you have a great day. Take care. Peace.